Okay, we teased this off the top. It's in the show title. Sean Payton was traded to the Denver Broncos for a first and a second-round pick. Take tag board full here, Mike. The Saints do receive a conditional second-round or third-round pick in return, but the question then begs to ask, is any coach worth a first-round pick? And in any circumstance, would you trade draft capital for a head coach? Take it away.
Vince Lombardi is the only person that I could even think of.
Well, it's been done before. John Gruden was traded.
It's not the first time. This is not the first time.
And it paid off and they won.
And what happened when the Bucs gave up draft picks to get John Gruden from the Raiders?
They won the championship.
And who'd they beat in the Super Bowl?
Raiders.
Are you saying that this is equivalent?
I'm saying that John Gruden had not won a Super Bowl at that point.
So you would trade your picks for John Gruden?
If I felt that it was the right coach for the right team, I would absolutely give up draft picks. Now, I'm not saying that Sean Payton is that guy.
Did they give up a first round for John?
They gave up a first and a second.
A first and a second, Tyvis. And that's the first-round pick they got from Miami.
Right.
Who got it from San Francisco.
That thing's been
in
bounced
the Trey
all over the
Lance
place.
trade that then was part of the Bradley Chubb trade.
Yeah.
So essentially, the Broncos have traded Bradley Chubb and a second for Sean Payton and a third.
Well, it just shows me it's two things. It's two ways I look at this whole thing. You know, will I ever do it? Probably not. I think there's some other candidates in there that can probably get in there and get it done.
I might do it for a 45-year-old Bill Belichick.
Oh, a younger Bill?
Yeah. I wouldn't do it for Bill today.
Was it Bill or was it Tom?
It was Bill. It was both. I mean, I'm going to give both their due.
I'll tell you
Was it?
Yeah, because Bill was the defensive coordinator for two other teams that won Super Bowls.
Yeah, you gotta give him his due.
I mean, and Bill's, come on.
I respect Bill.
I know
This actually, when you see it, it's like somebody being like, you know, I always say it, somebody who overpaid for a car, right? You don't know what that person's circumstances is. Maybe they couldn't get a loan for the 3%. Maybe the car payment was 22% plus it was overpriced. But that's the only person that would give them a deal. When you look at the Denver Broncos, 5-12, they're already in guaranteed cash money for Russell Wilson. Already there.
Which is why they did this.
Yeah,
they think Sean Payton is the key to unlock that.
Yeah, he's the only one that can fix him.
So
allegedly.
So if you didn't,
we're gonna find out.
You're already halfway down the road. You need to get to work. You might want to get you a car. And if you got Russell Wilson, who looked that bad, you got Sean Payton. You hope he comes in and makes it, like a family and makes it like it's a good marriage. He could do what Drew Brees did because, Russell Wilson was what we would say, the next Drew Brees, the smaller stature guy.
Yeah.
Could, throw the ball.
The sub-6-foot guy that won a Super Bowl. There's two of them.
Well, that was defensive. They won because of defense.
Well, he was the quarterback of the team that won the Super Bowl.
He also lost one for him, too.
Okay.
What was the Broncos' record after they fired Hackett? Did they win a game?
They were better, I think. Hackett might be the worst coach I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, they were scoring, but did they win any games? Do you know, McNuggets?
What was their record afterwards? After Hackett
got fired.
They probably won
they definitely was putting up points.
I mean,
they were definitely better, but
they looked more like a football team. Remember, in his very first game, he was wasting time so his field goal kicker could try like a 65-yard field goal.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Brandon McManus.
They were 1-1 after Hackett was fired.
Okay.
But they did score 24 points and 28 points, which they did.
Okay, that is a dramatic improvement.
Huge. That's a big.
So they scored. Put it this way: they scored.
So maybe they're not as far away as we
points
think.
Twice after Hackett. They did it once with Hackett in 15 games.
My thing is.
Well, that's a pretty damning stat for Hackett.
So what would you say they need to do in order for this trade to be valid?
Do you know what they need to do? Well, you mean win-loss?
Yeah, next season.
They're not going to win the West.
No, they're not.
So that's out of the question.
Kansas City's going to run that
They
thing.
need to be in contention for a playoff spot in year one.
Okay.
Now, it's not like this could be a long-term turnaround because Russell's 35, 34. Well, I don't know. How old is Russell now?
I think
33 maybe?
Something like that.
I mean, so it's not like you got a 25-year-old Joe Burrow and you're thinking about a 10-year run.
Listen, I'm that third pick. I might take Hooker from Tennessee. I'm just.
He's 34 years old. I mean, I don't.
What's Peyton getting? 6 years, $17 million.
According to
No,
reports online,
$13 million a year. I thought.
according to
It said 17 to 20, I thought.
it's not. This is not from Schefter yet or from Rappaport, who
Right.
usually are the two contract experts. But I'm seeing reports of about 5 years, $85 million, which averages out to about $17 million a year.
So
which is
here's the
absurd.
deal: the Broncos owners, their new owners, are wrecking the game, and here's why.
They going all in on everything.
They overpaid for the franchise by a lot. Some say by billions. What'd they get? What'd they pay for that? $4.5 billion?
They
They paid $4.5 billion for the Broncos.
they overpaying
If there
quarterbacks.
was a franchise in the NFL that was worth $4.5 billion, I'd say it'd be the Cowboys.
So what you're saying is, if you're a free agent, you should shine to Denver.
Well, yeah. Here's what they've done though. Then they gave a boatload to
Russell,
Russell
before he even stepped foot on the field.
Well, I mean, it was part of the deal.
Smart
really.
businessman by him.
Sure, it was a great move for him, and he found a sucker. You only got to find one sucker.
And when you find it,
And
you
now
lick it.
Sean Payton found the sucker. I heard on Monday in the afternoon, I'm watching NFL Network on the treadmill, and they said, it looks as though the market for Sean Payton is gone. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? It was at week 8, it was, where's he going to land? He's the hot commodity.
That's why.
And then their reporters were all saying, this team is looking at this guy. This team is looking at this guy. This team's bringing this guy in for a second interview and said they're not going to ask to talk to Sean Payton. And because of the asking price for Sean Payton, it looked like the market dried up. But it only takes one sucker. There was Denver saying, wait, what do you need, New Orleans? We need a first and a second. What do you need, Sean? I need a record $85 million for 5 years.
But you know what's interesting about that?
He found his sucker.
This whole offseason, they talked about how he was pairing up with Vic Fangio.
Right.
There's no way Vic Fangio's going back there because he got fired from there.
It wasn't a pretty end either.
Not at all.
Well, see, I look at it a couple ways.
Football makes strange bedfellows.
I look at it from a business standpoint.
Man, he ain't going back there. He going to Miami.
It's an entirely different regime. The only thing that's the same is the name and the uniforms.
He ain't going.
His boss is different.
Is he
the
still?
owner's
Is he
different.
still getting paid by Denver?
He probably is.
Oh,
They're probably
go
just saying-
double dip, man.
I know. They have to pay
Go
him twice.
double dip.
They have to pay him twice.
I think the point we missing is, look, there's a team that go from worst to first every single year. I just watched the Jacksonville Jaguars do it with one of the worst, what was explained to me, worst locker room situations and devoid of talent and questionable moves. They said they overpaid for Christian Kirk. They said
he paid off.
Yeah,
That's
he
what
did.
he did. I was like,
you know what? They made moves in the offseason that at the time everybody was like, wow, they're throwing deck chairs on a sinking ship.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, they're sailing into the sunset.
That Calvin Ridley thing next year going to be ridiculous.
So if you're looking at it from Denver's standpoint, you're saying
I see what you're saying. If they can do it in Jayville,
if
why
they
can't
can
we
do it? I think I could get a better coach who's a Hall of Fame coach. I think and here's the thing, he's an offensive genius. Like offensively, his work is proven. If he can get anything out of Russell Wilson, they got receivers there. And here's a team that we don't think about too much. There's certain teams in the NFL that can no longer, they can't afford to rebuild like that. Like the Denver Broncos, we talk about the teams that, that are good every single year. There's only a couple years Philadelphia or Kansas City or Denver, that their blueprint is, look, we got Elway, and then we went and got Manning. Then after Manning was gone, we was running around with these quarterbacks. We are a team that we can't afford to be irrelevant for more than 4 years.
Their fan base.
Their fan base is like, no. That's Denver Broncos. So for me, I look at it and they say, look, just roll the dice. We're already halfway down the road with Russell Wilson. If it doesn't happen, guess what? You probably can do a full rebuild, and you can at least say, well, look, we tried, and now we got a coach that we feel can find the next quarterback.
Do you agree that they're not winning the West?
No.
I mean,
they ain't beating Kansas
I
City.
think the only realistic expectation for them is to compete for a playoff spot, a wild card spot. And, I mean, they're in it. I mean, you talk about us. We're in it with a quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, see,
They're in it with a quarterback and a coach.
my thing with them though is that when you look at like defensively, they've always been pretty good, but they got rid of Chubb. Like who is their pass rusher? Like
They need to go
You
get some
think-
I
pass
didn't
rushers.
think their defense was bad last
no,
year.
but
Their defense was very good last year, but their
And they're-
DC
they're-
may or may not be back
Well-
because he's been a hot candidate for those coaching spots
I
that are now
wonder-
starting to file up.
He has, and he's had some interviews already. I wonder if he's more likely to go or stay now that Sean Payton is his boss.
I'd stay. I
Your
think
stock can only go down because if you don't duplicate what you did this year, suddenly you're not the hot candidate anymore.
I think, and plus you got to look at the division. That move they just made tells me that they think the Chargers are soft.
for the Chargers. is
They
an offensive
they
rebuild
felt
on
like
coaches.
they felt
They
like the
got Kellen
Chargers.
Moore. I'll take that back.
They
just
felt like the
Kellen Moore.
Chargers should have
You know
got
what?
rid of Staley.
They're
and-
almost like the Browns in the AFC North. Because you're in the AFC North, you're looking to Pittsburgh and you're looking to Baltimore and you're looking at Cincinnati and you go and spend that money on Deshaun Watson. Because outside Cleveland, a lot of people are like, why are they burning their money like that? They aren't going to win that division. That they're just not. And that's kind of what we're looking at Denver saying, man, you got to get past Kansas City. You got to get past the Chargers.
And the Raiders.
Who knows what the Raiders are going to do? I mean, we know they're going to have a different quarterback.
I think the rationale is if the Chargers get off to a bad start, they just like the Browns. They get off to a bad start. Guess what's
coach
going to
is
happen?
gone.
He's gone.
I can't believe they're bringing him back.
That's
I really
year.
can't.
That's a year lost. That's done. So they're saying, why not get a head start on them? We playing with house money now. Like we feel decent about our situation, right? And if they can get a wild card and come in, because I think that division is pretty good. We thought the AFC West was going to be the best division with the AFC North. So the Browns look at it the same way. Like we don't got to beat the Bengals, but if we come in second in the AFC North, traditionally that team is in contention for a playoff run. So if they can make a playoff run, it's better than what they was doing this year because they was irrelevant.
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see that match because obviously we all know Sean Payton wanted that Chargers job. So
I think that's where he was angling, either there or Arizona.
That was.
I ain't going to Arizona.
But, you know, there's another franchise. They just given their coach a big extension. They just gave their quarterback a big – they're asking the same question right now in Arizona that we were asking here 2 years ago about Baker.
Yeah.
Is he the right guy?
Coming
And they
off
just
an
gave him
injury?
a massive contract extension. And, oh, by the way, in the process of giving him the extension, somehow it leaks out that they put a clause in his contract, oh, but you got to do more film study. You're not doing the work that we need you to do. And they still gave him trucks full of money. So I wouldn't want to be an Arizona fan right now either because you're paying for a dead coach and you may have a dead quarterback on your hands.
Do they? They ain't got no. They didn't hire no new coach, did they? Not yet, right?
No, I don't think they have.
That's like going to be one of the last jobs.
Well,
to
I
get
think
filled.
some of these guys that are, you know, your guy now in San Francisco is free to move.
Who?
Well,
Jimmy?
No, the defensive coordinator.
He went to Houston.
D'Amico Ryan's the head
Oh,
coach
he
of
took
Houston.
the Ryan. He took the.
He went to Houston.
Yeah, he's head coach of Houston.
Ooh, that's a good move for them. That happened when I was off. I missed that
There's
one.
nothing better than getting a former player because it matters to him. You know, he started his
And
career.
he was a good player.
Yeah,
too,
he was
wasn't
good, captain of the team and everything.
We've always talked about that. You know, could great players become great coaches?
He was
you
a
know?
good defensive coordinator. I'll tell you that.
That's interesting.
He just got to find a good offensive mind.
This is why.
He's interviewing the Bengals wide receivers coach for the OC job, by the way.
Is Anarumo? He's going to be. Gone
He got
too,
a.
isn't
He had a
He interviewed with
interview.
the Cardinals for their head coaching job.
Oh God, I hope they hire him.
Yeah, get him
hire
up out
his
of here.
ass.
Yeah.
Get him out of here.
Get him up out of here. Bye.
Because man,
He
did
gave
he
a problem, didn't he?
energize that Cincinnati defense.
Man, the AFC. This is why the NFL is so good, man. This is just because it's the only league where you could talk about a 5-12 team and make a case that they can make the playoffs next year.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You can't do that in no other sport.
Nope.
You can't project baseball, basketball. If you ain't got a top 5 player, chalk it up. You're not winning.
So next year when the Rockets get Victor Wembanyama, they in it?
No.
Okay.
You know,
I don't think so either. Not right away.
You know, you got a 5 year.
not?
It's a 5-year build-up for
He's the
NBA.
greatest prospect ever.
How tall is he?
7'3" big nuggets?
Anywhere between 7'2" and 7'4", depending on what.
Typically, what happens to those guys?
Will you stop with the knee thing? Just
No feet
whatever.
with tall guys.
Even if you got to think about it like this. This is why I always laugh. Even if you are, say for instance, you think about Durant and LeBron, right? You know how good they is. Like Durant don't miss.
Durant's a 7-footer.
So even if this,
And can he stay healthy?
no,
He been here. This is the first time.
no, he's missed years.
Oh yeah, this is the first time.
That's why you missed.
I'll
Because my feet hurt.
Hey, that's so funny. I don't know. Back to Sean Payton. I don't know if Sean Payton is worth it. I think you got to have a unique situation if you're gonna trade some picks for him. But again,
You know what I would say? Here's how that's going to be measured. Just like our trade or our signing for Deshaun Watson and trade. It's very simple. If they win a Super Bowl, it was worth it. Was it worth it for the Bucs to give up draft picks to get John Gruden? Yeah.
I don't think
they got a trophy for it.
I don't think they seal. That's not. If they got to make the playoffs.
No, that's not enough.
That is enough.
No, it's not. You're paying him more than any other coach has ever been paid, and you got a quarterback who's in the top 5 paid quarterbacks.
To go from
Win it all.
5-12
That's
to,
Denver.
to making the playoffs.
We got a Denver fan.
That's pretty.
In the panel.
Anthony,
let's
is.
swing the camera on Anthony.
Anthony,
I know you're not mic'd up, so with a simple head nod.
Yes.
Is this trade a success if the Broncos make the playoffs but lose in the first round to the Bills?
No, they have to go all the way. We've won a Super Bowl recently. They have to. The expectations.
You're in it to win it. It's an all or nothing move. Just like the Browns and Deshaun Watson.
I applaud it.
So let me ask you this: what if the coaching is good but the quarterback is not?
He's responsible. He's the quarterback whisperer.
So it's okay for him to draft it. So if he comes in there and it comes around, he's like, oh, I'm not running with Russell. I'm gonna go draft me a quarterback. That's fine.
It's his team.
Okay.
They're going to ride or die with him.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Even though you paying Russell all this
There are
money to sit on the bench.
You know, it's cool for
can't get out of that contract.
It's cool for Jacksonville to make the playoffs. They're like, yeah, this is fun, man. But for some franchises, that's not enough.
I told you. You can't. Some franchises is not going to
They missed the postseason for like 5 years.
No, they're not going to tolerate that.
They've been tolerating it for 5 years.
How many Super Bowls do they have? 3? 4? How many did John win?
2.
John
Elway.
2.
right?
2?
Then the
And they won the Peyton Manning
But
Super Bowl.
I think he went to 4 though.
No, he went to more than that.
in the 90s.
He lost 4 before he ever won one.
They
if I'm
down
not
there.
mistaken,
They
or
down
3.
there where the Browns is.
He didn't lose 4 Super Bowls. did he?
Listen, every year that they beat the Browns in the AFC Championship game, they went to the Super Bowl and lost.
89.
And they beat us in at least 2 AFC Championship games.
89, they got destroyed by the
Destroyed
49ers.
55,
55
yeah,
nothing.
terrible.
He's won 2.
And they lost at least 3.
I think
No, they lost 4.
That's
think
in
it-
the- that's
Because they lost
that's
one when
terrible.
Craig Morton was their quarterback and Dan Reeves was their coach.
Yeah.
Like back in the Super Bowl 18 days or something.
So this was in the 90s.
He lost 3.
No.
He's 2-3 in the Super Bowl.
Who?
Yeah.
Elway.
Yeah, Elway is, but Denver lost another Super Bowl when they were the Orange Crush before the Elway
Well,
years.
and they lost to Seattle.
Yeah, we
So they've
forgot
lost
about
They
that.
got
Super Bowl.
destroyed by Seattle.
So the point is,
Yeah, but we
like,
can chuckle. They've been to 7 and
they
won
got-
2.
you're
No,
right.
they've been to 8 and won 3. We've been to none.
and never sniffed.
we
like,
ain't sniff. We could
Could you imagine what Cleveland would be like this week if we were gearing up to go to Phoenix?
We'd be there. We'd do the show
Of
live
course
from
we would.
from
But can you
Phoenix.
imagine what this city would be like?
It'd be shut down. Everybody's off.
In
Especially if
57
they
years,
win.
here's what really pisses me off. 57 years they've sent 2 teams to the biggest game of the year. 57 times. So in total, that's 114 playoff Super Bowl tickets have been punched. 57 from the AFC, 57, 114. There's 32 teams. There's only 16 in our conference. All we have to do is be number 1 of 16 to get to a Super Bowl. 57 times it's happened. Oh, by the way, the last time they played this game and it was called the Super Bowl, we won it.
you know, so demoralizing, Jay, is they've had expansion teams that start from 0.
And have been there.
Why
0.
would you say-
Carolina.
Why y'all bringing that up, man?
0 expansion, like you know how difficult it is to start from. I don't have no office. There's no
Seattle
structure,
and Tampa Bay came in the league in 1976.
right?
And they've each got one. And we haven't been to one.